How do you know if your coast-fi number is right? There is one big mistake that people make, but nobody is talking about this. Most people are calculating coast-fi with a number they are simply guessing. And if you get that one number wrong, your entire plan could be off by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why, hello, my yellow groupers. I'm Carly, a finance grad and the creator of Best Money Class Ever, where I teach how to pay off debt in 36 months or less, invest to retire a millionaire, and stress less about money. Grab a seat. I'm about to spill the financial tea. Are you ready for it? In this episode, I'm going to share the biggest coast-fi mistake. It's not what you think it is. The number that changes everything. Why your coast-fi number is probably wrong. How to calculate your true coast-fi number. And why you need to recalculate your coast-fi number every single year. The biggest coast-fi calculation mistake is not your forecast of how the market will perform with the inflation or interest. Nobody really knows exactly what the stock market will do. People do use historical averages with a stock market earning interest of 10% and inflation of 3%. You can always adjust this number by using a more conservative return. The biggest mistake with coast-fi calculations is you don't actually know how much you're spending. The one number that changes everything with coast-fi calculation is your spending. If you're new with the FIRE movement, it stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. coast-fi is a flavor of that to reach that set amount early to let the compound interest do the work in the back burner. People tell me they want to reach coast-fi, but then I'll ask them one simple question. How much do you spend in a year? They have no idea. They'll say something like, I spend around $60,000, but it's a guess. Here's the thing. Your coast-fi starts with that one number, your annual spending. If that number is wrong, every calculation following is going to be wrong. The core part of coast-fi calculation or financial independence retire early in general is based off of the 25 times rule. The 25 times rule says that your target nest egg is to save 25 times your annual spending. To be very clear, it's 25 times your annual spending. It is not your gross income. It's not even your take-home pay. It is what you actually need to live off of to fund your ideal lifestyle. Here is an example as to why this number is so important. Let's say you have two people who are making $120,000. The first person only spends $50,000 every year. They have their taxes and then they're saving a lot of that. Of course, when you're in retirement, you don't need to save anymore. So we want to look at just that bottom line of what your lifestyle costs right now. With $50,000 in annual spending, your target nest egg would then be $50,000 times 25, or you would want a nest egg of 1.25 million invested. On the other hand, let's say the next person makes that same salary, but they more or less spend most of their pay after taxes. Their annual spending is $90,000. In this case, this person would need a nest egg of $90,000 times 25, which would then be 2.25 million. Here we have two people who make the same income, but their spending is so different. That would be 1 million of a difference of what they would need to support that lifestyle in retirement. With coast-fi, you are making a giant leap of stopping your investing and you're letting compound interest do the heavy lifting. But if you're making that leap, you need to make sure the basics of that calculation is right. Here is why your coast-fi number is probably wrong. Your coast-fi number is completely based off of what you spend in a year. People often completely underestimate their actual spending. It's easy to remember the basics like your housing, insurance, services, or debt. People often forget the other big ticket items. Vacations, home or car repairs, Christmas spending and the holidays, projects like buying a new couch or updating your furniture, medical bills or surgeries, attending weddings, your hobbies and fun events like concerts or sports leagues. These forgotten expenses can add up to thousands of dollars every single year that you're spending, and you do need to account for that in your retirement planning as well. Because you want to go on vacations when you're retired and you want to get a new couch every few years. You might have the same chronic health conditions, so we need to factor those into your annual spending and have a very clear picture. How to calculate your true coast-fi number. If you really want to get an accurate number, you're really going to have to track your spending. You have to know exactly what you're spending in a year's time. I did a full video on how to calculate your coast-fi number. There is a formula. You can check that out. And I also explain other things as to why coast-fi is so popular, exactly how it works, all the principles behind that. So make sure and check that out. We talk about inflation and interest, how to account for those, In the last episode, I also shared COS-FI by decade. You can see an example of how this calculation works. If you're 30, 40, and 50, what you would need to have invested if you want to have retirement annual spending of $75,000. All of those numbers are completely wrong. It's a huge mistake if you don't exactly know what you're spending. This is why I have the mantra of becoming chief financial officer and managing your money like a boss. You're new around here. I'm a finance grad and I like to use financial statements. I freaking love financial statements. I mention these all the time because it really helps you to gain control of your money in your life. As chief financial officer, I recommend creating an annual budget that you can automate. What you'll do is you'll fill in your income statement, also known as a P&L or profit and loss. It shows if you are having a profitable budget where you can spend guilt-free on the things that you want in life, like those things that most people forget about, like the medical, maintenance, projects, celebration, travel, and fun. You'll have what you think's going to happen. You'll forecast out for each month your income in those variable expenses. And then as CFO, what you'll do to really know what your annual spending is each month, you'll actually fill in your statement of cash flow, which shows your inflows and outflows. It's your actual spending. If you crave accountability with money, the idea that accountability doesn't exist, ask an accountant, ask the CFO. They literally account for the transactions in a business. As CFO running the business of you, you'll do the exact same thing. If you are looking for an all-in-one tool to manage your money, I created a financial day planner. It's a day planner and financial plan in one. Not only does it have a retirement calculator that shows your forecast for your money, it also has your income statements and statement of cash flow. Each month when you fill in your data, by the end of the year, you'll have an annual report, which is so important. You can then create an accurate COS-FI number based on your accurate real spending. In the annual report, you'll see the totals that people typically remember, like your housing, your insurances, your services, if you have debt. You'll also see the total for an area that I call operating expenses. A lot of times people call these necessities. I call them operating expenses. So it's you as a human, what you need day to day. Groceries, gas for your car, basic day-to-day purchases. Personally, I take out a set amount of cash for these operating expenses to take the guesswork out of budgeting. Then on your annual report, you'll also see the total that you spent in those categories that kind of people forget about: the medical, the maintenance, the project, celebration, travel, and fun. Especially for things like celebrations, pretty much people are blindsided, but year after year, you'll develop data points. You'll know how much these cost, so you're not blindsided. Here's why every year you need to recalculate your COS-FI numbers. Personal finance is personal. Life and circumstances changes. You do the forecast with your interest and inflation. What you'll do as CFO is you'll actually track your net worth on what's known as your balance sheet. This is the third financial statement. It is a snapshot of everything that you own right now, your assets, and then your liabilities is everything that you owe right now. Your net worth is assets minus liabilities. On your balance sheet, then you'll see your actual investment gains, where you stand right now. You also want to adjust your numbers for life changes. For example, if you start a family, your annual expenses are going to change. If your housing changes, so for example, I went from RV life full time, I did that for 6 years. I transitioned and moved into an apartment. Then if in the future I'm like, okay, I want to have the home ownership, that's going to be more expensive every year with maintenance, repairs, upkeeps, yard, all the things. Adjust and get a better look at your annual expenses. People often experience lifestyle inflation. For example, if you set these COS-FI goals and you are 24, you might be okay with living a 40K lifestyle. If you get promotions, your lifestyle might increase. And so you might realize, okay, I thought that would be great for my 25-year-old self, but I'm going to loosen up a little bit, still be frugal, but not quite the same amount, same level. So you want to adjust your numbers based off of your new updated life and reality. All in all, I love the idea of COS-FI, where you invest a lot on the front end and let your money work for you. You no longer need to save hundreds or thousands of dollars every month or year. You did the hard work up front and you can coast to your retirement. This gives you career freedom. You can actually enjoy life now versus having the pressure of reaching full financial independence. Investing early gives you the freedom to pursue those passion projects, more travel, more family time, more flexibility. You can spend guilt-free and enjoy life now. Everyone asks, how much do I need to retire? Or what's my COS-FI number? The better question is, how much does it actually cost me to live my ideal life? Once you know those numbers, your COSFI is going to be way more accurate. If you want to reach COSFI, then become that chief financial officer and manage your money like a boss. If you want the exact financial day planner that I use to track my spending, it is linked in the description below. Start tracking your spending, and then at the end of the year, you'll have a full annual report and you'll know exactly what your lifestyle costs you. Do you want to gain financial independence? It doesn't mean what it used to. You don't have to invest every single month for the rest of your life. You don't have to work until 65 or 70. You can have financial independence now, and COSFIRE is a way to gain that freedom and flexibility that you crave in your life. I am really curious, and I would love to hear from you. Have you reached COSFI? Do you feel comfortable completely stopping investing for retirement? Spill your financial tea in the comments below if you are watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify. Thank you so much, my yellow groupers, for listening. Every show has a dope name that they are calling their listeners. I'm calling you my yellow groupers. We have slow starts, we get off track, we get behind, we get knocked down. Life does not go as planned. The cards are stacked against us. The hands we are dealt are not ideal, but we don't ever give up. That is where our grit is born. Our trials, our adversities, that is what makes us stronger. Did you like this episode? If so, make sure to like it and subscribe and share it with your friends who geek out over personal finance. If you are listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure and follow and leave me a review. If you've been meaning to get your finances in order, now is the time, and this is the best place to start. Here, you'll overcome analysis paralysis with the finance plan. This is the roadmap that you've been looking for to pay off debt and invest, even if you have no idea where to start and you're living paycheck to paycheck. Are you tired of figuring this money stuff out on your own? You don't need to spend a lifetime stressed about money. You can turn things around in a month, and I will show you exactly how. Enrollment is currently closed for Best Money Class Ever, my live and virtual 4-week personal finance class. Don't worry, you can start a plan with money to pay off debt and invest right now. I'll show you exactly how. Head on over to bestmoneyclassever.com or the link below. You'll instantly get a free 20-page downloadable guide to start the finance plan. As always, remember, you only live once. Be smart with your money now. I will catch you later. Bye.